Today we're talking about SEO. We received a question in the hub, actually a series of questions from one of our hub members. If you're curious, Digital Communications Training Hub, I'll link it below. They were asking about SEO on various platforms, their website. They're thinking about making curated blog posts, post playlists, and also thinking about using those playlists on their Instagram story highlights, YouTube playlists. They're not sure where to go to find these topics that people might be searching for. So there's a lot to answer. And Michelle and I were thinking it would be a good opportunity for us to kind of go back and forth and chat and put it here on YouTube so that you all can experience our answers as well and think about SEO in a different way. So Michelle, I think this will be just the rest of it will just be conversation back and forth. I know you were before we hit record kind of talking about how SEO is not the same as it used to be, and I thought maybe we should start there.
Oh, SEO is not the same. First, just generally curating playlists is a great idea for YouTube and for blog posts. Great way to kind of categorize things. So SEO is not the same. So back in maybe I think September, Google came up with what they called a helpful content update, which from what I've been reading has really not been so helpful because it's really changed the way Google results come back, and people are losing a lot of page views and things like that. So SEO is kind of changing. It's evolving. It's not so much just put these keywords in your SEO tool on WordPress and call it a day. It's going to take a little bit more massaging, a little bit more work, a little bit more research on everybody's part, and we're all kind of figuring it out as we go along. Not that if you have an SEO tool on your website, it's not useless. It is still useful. I think focusing in on the keywords is going to be it's going to be much more helpful and something to focus on down the line. So how do you focus on that? How do you find them? Google Trends is a free tool. There's some training on the Google site for that. You can pretty much like dive into a lot of your topics by region and by a lot of different variables, what is being searched over a period of time. So I would definitely start there and then look at your own analytics for your website. What is being searched? You can find that usually in the C panel of your website, your web host. What do you think, Sammy?
I like where you went with that because when I think about keywords, certainly we're going to give some advice for how to find things people are searching for in general. And Michelle just pointed out the C panel, so how people are finding you, which I think is great. But I think some of that is like a brand identity thing too, because you get to decide, are you looking out to see what other people are searching for and then saying, oh, this is what they're searching for, this is what we're going to be? Or do you look at that vast amount of answers for what people are searching for, see all these different keywords and say, okay, we're going to pick these 3 topics, and like that's what we want to be really focused on as a community, or that's what we want to educate people on really in depth, and maybe that changes over time, but I just feel like you're kind of picking the focus of your community. Like I know, oh, it's, the online focus of your community. It's these are just the playlists on our Instagram, our YouTube channel, our website maybe, but like this is what people are going to remember you for. This is how you're going to be known. Oh, they have a ton of content about death or communion, like, and maybe you become a go-to resource. I just feel like there's some personal for the community questions to consider and thoughts to consider as you're doing all this. So I'm glad we're giving the technical advice here, but also just wanted to put that frame of reference out there because I know Michelle and I were talking about that as like this branding related question. Related to you talking about the Google trends and Google update and how to find kind of what people are searching for online for your site. If you don't know the website Answer the Public, I think you get 1 free search now, but I'm expecting it's not a insane price to pay for that service, but you can like enter a word. So I know this particular community gave us like a couple words like sin or joy. So maybe they enter in joy. I entered in peace, which was really funny because then Answer the Public gives you all these questions that people are searching for about that topic. It's a great tool. But when I entered in peace, Michelle, I don't know if you were online with me when I did, but it was all these things about like peace lily and like flowers and food, and I was like, I didn't even know that those were things. So
But
you might find things you don't necessarily need. And
that is a
then
very
what's that?
that is a very broad topic.
Yeah, yeah, it can go all over, but it's kind of, I don't know, maybe you could play with that a little bit. And then one more thing I just want to say with this, like finding ideas that people are already searching about, a big like YouTube tip, and I'm in the video space, Michelle's more like websites and back end techie things, but I'm like more video minded. And so I know that a lot of YouTubers will say if you're trying to figure out what people are searching for, just start typing into YouTube. Just start maybe typing what you're kind of hoping to talk about. So if it's sin or joy or Easter, uh, you could start typing a question. You could type the word Easter, and it will like auto give you those questions that the platform is like, oh, is this what you're asking? And the reason they're saying, oh, is this what you're asking, is because that's what other people are asking. So you can do that on Google and on YouTube. I don't know. I could talk more about YouTube, Michelle, but I'm gonna see if there's anything that I made you think about while I was ranting.
Well, what you're saying about YouTube is a search engine, right? And it's owned by Google, so it kind of follows along the same sort of philosophy. And it's no surprise that YouTube is rampant. Has, video is not going away. It's just getting more prominent. Text in blogs are getting a little less prominent, probably. And with the AI and ChatGPT around, I mean, that's, I think, a lot that was prompted Google to kind of be a little more stringent and strict in its search results, because there is so much content being created by AI, and they're trying to, get rid of that. So kind of weed out the good from the bad. So, I mean, videos are created by AI too. So I don't know how they're kind of determining that, but yeah, using YouTube as a search engine to see where your people are and what they're searching for is awesome. So how does this like transfer to social media? We haven't talked much about like Insta or Facebook.
Sure. So, let's see. You talked about YouTube. You can go into your analytics on YouTube. I mean, that's not really social media in the same sense. But you can go, into analytics on YouTube. That's a good tool. You can pay attention to what videos do well. Like that's an analytic tool as well. I like talking about how analytics don't need to be complicated just for them to be analytics. So looking at what are people actually watching on my channel, that's a good analytic to say this is what people are already interested in. If you want to look at like Instagram and TikTok, there are capabilities there for you to ask your audience. So you could poll on your story if you have an audience that watches your stories, even a couple of people. You can put a little poll up and say, which of these topics do you want to hear about? Or put a question sticker and say, like, we're thinking about talking about peace this month. What are your questions about peace? See if anybody takes the bite. You can do the same on Facebook questions. One thing I want to point out on Instagram and TikTok particularly, those algorithms love when you like take comments and respond to them. So if you talk about a certain topic and then try to encourage other people to like ask more questions about it, like, hey, I'm going to talk about sin today and I really want to address more questions. Can you drop more questions below? Then you actually make videos right onto those questions. So you use that question and make a video in response. Then the algorithm's like, oh, there's interaction here and they're responding. Let's give people more of that. You could put those in a playlist, which might mean your Instagram playlists look a little like your highlights look different than what happens on, your website or on YouTube. I know we want to kind of keep things easy and curated, but maybe you have different audiences on both. Maybe you can keep them aligned, like we were talking about the brand identity. So you say, well, as long as it's under these pillar topics, if I'm answering different questions on each, it's okay, but you're kind of keeping that focus there. And then one more thing I want to say, Michelle, about YouTube tools that could be used, which I think could be a good segue to any other tools that you might have for like websites, that people might be looking for like a tangible thing to take from this. TubeBuddy and vidIQ are both really good YouTube analytics tools, and you can do a free version or a paid version of both. I think I've done paid before, but like I get a lot from the free versions too, just as far as searching for content that would be helpful to create. And once you already post the video, making sure that it is doing all the SEO things, which by the way, we didn't even say what SEO was. I'm hoping people watching this know. Search engine optimization. All right, tell me more about tools.
Tools. Well, WordPress sites have the availability of a ton of plugins, some are more prominent and better than others. But Yoast is one of our favorites. If you're using a tool, an SEO tool, that's great. That's a step in the right direction. Don't be afraid to pay for the pro version, because that's going to unlock a lot more features for you. So, and if SEO is important to you and your community, and as we said, it's getting a little harder to manage, maybe the pro version of a tool is going to be much more valuable to you. So that's the most important thing: SEO tool, plugin on your WordPress website.
Yoast.
Yoast. Yoast, Rank Math, that's another one. I haven't used that personally, but I know that's up there.
Yoast reminds me of Toast. Okay, I got one more thing I want to say, and then if you have anything else you want to say. Otherwise, I think we kind of, I don't know, gave a lot of good stuff so far. So, as much as I'm the social media minded person, or a social media minded person, I will wholeheartedly agree that the email list is where the power is at. And so, if you're asking, how do we go about finding useful topics and topics folks might be searching for, or might be curious about, pull your audience in your email list. Those are your people. They've given you your address. They've stuck with you through how many newsletters or messages you've put out. They haven't unsubscribed yet, so encourage them to respond to that email. Maybe you can say, hey, we're really looking for a response to this. I will personally reply to anyone that replies to me, or maybe you put a poll out, whatever it is. Those are your people. So if those are the people you're trying to serve digitally, I would ask them. I would absolutely ask them. So, anything else, Michelle?
I love that idea. I love email. That's my jam. Well, I think we covered a lot in these few minutes here. Great question.
Yeah, great series of questions, and hopefully that helps. But as always, we're here for our Hub members, and we're here on YouTube as much as we can, which is not as much as we like, but we try to stay present for those people in the Hub, and hopefully you all on YouTube benefited from hearing a little bit about how an answer to the Hub might look like. Sometimes we do actual technical walkthroughs. Someone doesn't know how to do something, and we will record a screen share on the phone or on the computer saying, well, here's how you do it. And then sometimes it's more questions like this where we need to dive into specific topics. But there's a lot in there as far as training videos, webinars, courses, downloadables. What am I missing? I don't know. Walkthrough videos like this.
Higher digital communications review course, our entire ebook.
Oh yeah, the ebook. Yep. Cool. So join the Hub or stay tuned to the next YouTube video, and we'll be here. Thanks for watching.